Simplicity. Be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. Those are words that were written by Lao Tzu. When you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. I looked through a whole bunch of quotes on the web to try to encapsulate what I was trying to convey tonight, because it's supposed to be persuasive power. It's very deep. I could probably just leave you with the quote and let you think about it for weeks. But what I wanted to do was impress upon you how powerful simplicity can be. There's a couple ways I want to demonstrate that. Number one really has to do with the way we live our lives with people. With the light of recent events, ongoing turmoil in the markets, but also basically everyday occurrences that can cause a lot of turmoil in our lives. I actually thought of a saying earlier today to try to get across a way of thinking about life. It's really, you're born, you love, and you die. And basically, I was thinking to myself, if I can try to think of a few experiences I had that really were, I was there in the moment, and there wasn't anything missing, was when my kids were born, when my uncle and my grandparents passed away, and I happened to be in the room with them. I don't know if anybody's had that experience, but as much as it can be a sad experience, it's probably as moving, just in a different way, as being in the room when a baby's born. It's hard to explain. In one experience, somebody's coming into the world, and it's a greeting, and it's joyous, and in the other one, it's saying goodbye, but that can be equally joyous, because you celebrate their life. And in the middle, the perfect example for trying to think about how we relate to other people in our lives and what it's all about are weddings. And weddings can be a pain if you have to travel, you have to spend a lot of money and buy suits and dresses. Sometimes it can be a little challenging if you're having to meet with family or friends you don't really like that much or have to spend a lot of time with. But it's one of the few times in life that people are actually bona fide, are glad. It's a good moment where two people are coming together and it actually means something. So I love weddings. It can be a good party too. A second way in which we can look at simplicity and how we should live our lives, really just turn on the news. It's always on. It has to do with money. I think money is the biggest stress I know in relationships, but basically you can have a good outlook on life, but if you're not financially secure, it's really hard not to be stressed out. So, simple words to live by: you just don't live beyond your means. You don't buy things you can't afford. You pay down debt instead of trying to rack up credit. The third thing I wanted to talk about in terms of talking about simplicity and giving examples has to do with what we do with our time. And it's funny how things work out in terms of topics. I find it happens a lot of times on evenings where it's almost as though there's been this unsaid sharing and all the speeches have a common theme. But when it comes to living your life, it always comes down to service. And as the good book says, it says, do unto others as you would have done unto yourself. And it's sort of a golden rule. And every time I find myself getting too caught up in my own life, or getting too big for my britches, or getting too proudful or too greedy, or any of those things, the best solution is to get out of your own way and do something for somebody else. And automatically, it's a very powerful experience because things seem to work out. So picking up on Karen's theme, giving to the food bank, thinking outside yourself, is a perfect example of how you can do something selfless, even as small as it is, because most of us sitting in this room are very abundant and really haven't had the experience of lack to the extent that billions of people in the world have had. So when I read this quote by Lao Tzu, I thought it was very powerful. When you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. Thank you.